Me, I am not ashamed to say that I had my very first orgasm at the age of 30. The ripe age of 30. And that was, I had been having sex since I was 15. So 15 whole years of not having experienced it. And I remember at some point going online and I searched and I was like, oh, okay, fine. It says that approximately 30 to 40% of women won't orgasm simply because either you're having bad sex or you're just like not, the man is just not doing what he needs to do to pleasure you. But it's crazy to me that most men, like I would say over 90% of men probably, will reach orgasm every single time that they have sex. Whereas for us, it's not that way.
Stop shaming anyone who's having sex. Stop shaming anyone who's not having sex. Because at this age, you'll find like someone, for example, your age is like, oh, I'm not having sex. You're 30-something and you're not having sex.
Right.
Where have you been? Do you live under a rock?
Choosing not to have sex is also just as empowering, and it's still your
That's
choice.
what she said.
Yeah. You can choose not to have sex. You can choose to stop having sex. You can choose to become a virgin again, even though I don't believe in the concept of virginity. You can choose.
That's what she said.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said vodcast, a vodcast where we have conversations about things affecting women, girls, and basically everything that we are going through that we don't often get a chance to talk about. This is the platform where we get to talk about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're in for an amazing conversation because today we are talking about the S word. What does the S word? When I say the S word, what do you hear? Sex. Really? Oh, maybe a sandwich. But okay, it's not sandwich. It's not sandwich. We're actually talking about sex today. A topic that many people talk about, but like in hushed tones, hardly ever in front of a camera and with fellow women, which is crazy. But I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Murugi. I'm going to let my co-hosts introduce themselves.
Hi guys, my name is Tanya. My friends call me T, and I'm so excited to be with you guys on set. I'm so looking forward to the conversation, and we're gonna have a good one.
We are.
Hey guys, Tatiana Gishero here. Yeah, you might know me from my activism, and today I'm here to inject. So let's do it.
Come on. Already, even the word inject sounds sexual. Everything. Really? Yeah. It's so interesting that sex is one of those things that permeates literally almost everyone who is an adult. Everybody is having sex. Yeah. Everyone is having sex. And yet, it is the year of our Lord 2025, and there's still so much shame. There's still so much misinformation when it comes to sex. Where are people getting their information? Yeah. Where are people, talking about it? When people have issues, where are they going? Which is crazy to me. But me, I'm a millennial. You guys are?
Gen Z.
They're Gen Z, right?
Can you tell?
Me, I can tell you that my mom never had a conversation with me with regards to sex. As much as what she told me is don't have sex. That's it.
Yeah.
What was you guys' introduction to sex and, what sex means as a young girl as you were growing up?
Yeah, for me, my thing with sex, or what I had about sex, was don't do it. And one of the ways that I was kind of deterred from having sex when I was younger is I was told, it's painful. It's so painful. You're going to bleed. It's like the worst. It hurts so bad. And when I think about it, a lot of what we are told as women is like our womanhood is just enduring pain. When you're being plaited your hair and then you're complaining that it's painful, you're being told vumilia. Yeah, like pretty hurts, when it comes to sex, you're being told that'll be painful. And I realize even when it comes to medicine, women who experience painful cramps, such as myself, like now every month you're going to just be like this, and you're actually in a lot of pain. So a lot of our womanhood, a lot of our conversations about sex from a young age are framed from that point of view of pain. Right. And it's like, when are we gonna start telling young women that you are allowed to enjoy sex, you are allowed to feel pleasure? Not only are you allowed, but it's your God-given right. Yeah.
Same with men. They're definitely not told that. They're not told that sex is painful.
Who will be told?
Exactly. What about you? Did your parents have a conversation with you about sex?
My parents never, we never had a conversation at you one-on-one. It's like, oh, this is sex and this is how it's gonna go. Not really. But I feel like when I was in high school, especially in Form 4, I had this amazing home science teacher, and she was like, I know everyone is telling you guys to abstain, but me, I know you guys are not abstaining. I know you guys are not abstaining. I know. She was like, I'll tell you guys what your parents are not telling you. And she's like, you know what? Use protection. And she actually told us, as a girl, you should have your own, contraception in your bag. And apparently I told this to a group of guy friends of mine, and they were like, no, that's such her like behavior.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God. So girls cannot carry around condoms.
Yeah, God forbid.
God forbid a lady wants to be protected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the introduction I had towards sex
Yeah.
in Form 4, and I think my home science teacher.
Do you guys feel like this is like Africa specific? Because I know in our African culture, there's a lot about like, okay, they want you, almost like a purity culture,
Yes.
which is not necessarily religious, just like purity. It's like, oh, keep yourself,
Yeah.
make sure you remain clean, make sure you remain untainted. Do you feel like that just happens in Africa, or do you feel like it's a global thing with regards to women generally?
It's definitely universal, but I think it's like, I really love that question because I think it's really important that we look at things from our context.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
really big on African feminism, and African feminism forces us to look at the fact that we experience issues differently. Like feminism actually was brought about by French and European people,
Right.
but now it's evolving, and now we are realizing like how we have it here. What's true for us here is definitely not true for women in the Middle East who still can't even show their ankle outside.
Literally,
It's
yeah.
shameful. So definitely I think that African culture plays a really, really big part in it. And also African culture is big on teaching young people, initiation and all. But why is it that like there's a separation? Like girls go through their own phase where they are told, okay, this is how you do, don't disrespect yourself, don't disrespect your family, when actually I think like owning your sexuality is actually an act of self-respect, if you ask me. Whereas guys are taken to their own side, and then I don't know what they are told by them. I would want to know what they are told.
I too.
But I
in
actually
that
think
room.
we can benefit from being put in the same room to have the same conversations, because
Right.
at the end of the day we have to interact with each other as two different genders, as two different sexes.
Yeah. So I'm listening to you speak, and because I'm a mom and I'm seeing it within the context of like my daughters, I'm trying to, sometimes I try to empathize with what our mothers were trying to protect us from, so to speak, because I feel like definitely when I look at my daughters versus when I look at my son, I almost like, it's not that I say I think she's weaker, but I definitely feel like she's more prone to being taken advantage of. Exactly. And so I feel like maybe our moms were coming from the perspective of like, they're just trying to protect us. They're just trying to make sure that no one comes and, tells you lies. Because when you get pregnant, you're the one who's there with your growing stomach. There's no, you take half stomach, may take half you're the one, So like, when I think about that, I see how a mother's protective instinct can be like, oh, I just want you to not be taken advantage. So that's why they'll tell you, oh, it's painful, oh, do this. But I feel like maybe now that's the other extreme, where instead of now just like empowering us and telling us the true information that, you know what, sex feels nice. It feels really nice. And because of that, you're going to want to do more of it, but just make sure that you're protected, make sure that you're using the necessary contraception and whatnot. I wish it was like a more in between sort of like, they don't want you to now go overboard, but also at the same time, it's like, give us the information that we need for us to be able to actually have sex in the right way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, I feel like even as a big sister, I kind of see that place where I want to be like, I want to keep you in this cage. Like, I don't want you to be exposed to anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to be educational. I want to tell you what it's about. But it's not like I'm forcing, oh, I want you to have this pleasure. It's so nice because I want you to do it at your own time.
That's the thing,
right?
exactly.
But I don't want to lie to you and tell you it's the worst thing on earth. It's going to be so painful. So you need to find a balance of where it's going to be educative and also still kind of like, I'm not pushing you to do anything. I just want you to have that information at the back of your mind.
Right.
So you make an informed decision. But that information is not there. Who's willing to sit down with this 13-year-old and talk to them?
Honestly, like when we talk about, how you talked about you want to protect your daughters because they're definitely more vulnerable, but who are you protecting them from? You're protecting them from men, like tomorrow's men, right? So it's really that thing when we say, don't protect your daughters, educate your sons, right? So we need to also have that conversation with men and be like, hey, like when you are having sex, the woman also deserves to feel good. It's not always about you. Or, maybe don't hypersexualize women, because also like sex is a choice, and I think that's what you are saying. You never want to nudge someone, especially a young woman, in the direction of like, go have sex, right? But you just want to equip them. That's the thing. You want to be equipped with everything you need to make that decision for yourself, because it's your body. You're the one who decides if you want to have sex, if you don't want to have sex. And that's what feminism is about. It's about choice. Yeah.
So let me ask you, now you've sort of talked about like equipping and, the young people having information. In lieu of, most African mothers are not really having the conversation of like, this is what's going to be fun, this is what you should try. Where do you guys think people are getting information about sex, because I feel like when we were growing up, because we didn't have that much access to like internet, it was kind of like what you'll hear from your friends. Once you might enter a spicy website and then you just feel like someone is watching you say exit, because again the shame started so young, you know. But right now I feel like we are now in the opposite, on the opposite side, because there is so much information about sex out there. If it's not pornography, if it's not these websites, if it's not ChatGPT, if it's not your friends, it's like literally I cannot even protect my kids from what they might see out there. So whether or not I have the conversation with them, they are going to find the information anyway.
Yeah.
Where would you say that you guys get your sex information from?
Like mostly it's from friends, like talking about it. So different people. This is actually even a learning experience, because you talk to me, you're like, oh Murugi, but then this and this is happening for me. I'm like, no way. Like I have no idea that that's supposed to happen during sex. So for me, it's more of like conversation, because I have really open conversations with my friends, and especially my female friends. So you can kind of tell me, you know, this is what girl, this is working, and this is not working. Or even we're having a conversation the other day with some girlfriends of mine, and one of our babes was telling us she went through an entire period where she had an STI and she had no idea. She was just like, oh, yeah, it's itchy, but you know,
crazy.
you know, but because you're not having this conversation and you don't have that information. Yeah. So that's probably where I'd say, me personally, I get
friends and stuff like that. You?
Yeah, same thing, like the girls. And honestly, like our journey coming into ourselves, even when we used to talk about adolescence and our periods, like even you getting your period, you don't talk to your mom really about that. Like, oh, you know, is it weird that sometimes my blood comes out like clotty, or those are not conversations sometimes those are normally conversations that I found myself having with my friends that I gathered over the years from a young age to date, right? But I really hear what you're saying when it comes to like now there's the digital space, and there's actually a lot of positive conversations on the digital space, like with your podcast TMI. But at the same time, there's like another side to that that's a bit scary, with the misinformation, with the shaming of women. Oh my goodness. Like you find somebody makes a sex positive comment and they're just owning their sexuality and they're dragged through.
And wait for a man to make the same comment. It will be like, oh my God, look at this guy. Hey, let me tell you, as a woman. And you wonder, who do they think the men are having sex with?
Exactly. It's the women.
It's the ones. So it's like, how is it that it's so one-sided? Like, I find that so upsetting. But now you guys saying that you get a lot of your sex information from your friends. Now, if you and your friends, that's really trusting. Don't you think? Because if all of you, maybe if somebody doesn't have the right information of me, I'm coming from like, hey, my mom told me, by the way, guys, that this thing, you know, this is the way it's supposed to be. Then we are all suffering in that one same cocoon because we all believe the same thing.
Yeah, that's the downside of it. Because if you're sharing the same information and you all believe each other to that extent, I'm not gonna. Obviously, sometimes you'll do like a bit of research, but you know, the bigger information is coming from the conversations that you're having with your friends. And in the same breath, what you were saying about guys guys rarely have conversation and sit down and talk about, oh, by the way, how does your babe pleasure you? You know, they don't have this conversation.
Be like, why are you talking about my babe?
You know, what do you want to
know? What do you want to know? So for me, it's like these guys should also have conversations so that they open up their minds to like, oh, actually, you can pleasure someone without it being for me specifically.
Right.
Like it can be for the woman. Because they're not having those conversations, whatever you know is what you're going with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you want to, you know, hurt the babes from start to finish, this is all these experiences that these other ladies that are being with you are going through. So you don't have any other perspective apart from your own. Which I think is very, very sad.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, so what I've established is that giving people no information, or young girls no information, is bad. But also, too much information is also can be really difficult, because it's like, how do you sift? If you just even try to like go and what do you call it, like Google, and just be like, oh, painful sex, you can get like literally a million different hits, and it's like, okay, this one is saying that I should go to the gynecologist, this one is saying that it's perfectly normal, this one is saying that perhaps, you know, I could have cancer of the uterus or something or whatever. And that's why I love vodcasts like this one, and I hope we get to have a million more episodes about sex, because literally it is, we can never exhaust it in this one video, but it's literally like, this is what she said, so people maybe who are watching are able to like learn from what we are, you know, having conversations about, you know what I mean? So let's talk about like female orgasms, because you've said there's like a huge imbalance when it comes to like how people see men in terms of like sex and in terms of their pleasure versus us and our pleasure, you know, kind of thing. Me, I am not ashamed to say that I had my very first orgasm at the age of 30, the ripe age of 30, and that was, and I had been having sex since I was 15. So 15 whole years of not having experienced it. And I remember at some point going online and I searched and I was like, oh, okay, fine. It says that approximately 30 to 40% of women won't orgasm simply because either you're having bad sex or you're just like not, the man is just not doing what he needs to do to pleasure you. But it's crazy to me that most men, like I would say over 90% of men probably, will reach orgasm every single time that they
Every
have
time,
sex. Whereas for us, it's not that way. Why do you think that gap exists?
First of all, I think it's the lack of education. Because, for example, you're saying you didn't realize you had your first orgasm until you were 30. So I'm thinking probably this 15 years, you're probably thinking, maybe I did. Maybe I
Right.
didn't.
You're
So
not
really
sure.
don't know. You
Yeah.
really don't know what you're doing. So for me, it's just the lack of information and the guy is not being willing to learn. You don't know how to take time and learn whatever your partner is comfortable with. Are you
Right.
having even as our part, we're not being communicative. We're not telling this person, oh, that really hurts. So
Right.
just there like,
Well, Merede.
exactly.
Yes.
The same thing you said, like, womanhood is
Yes.
about enduring. You're just like,
Exactly.
let me just endure because this man, is here.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to be that person who walks
Yes.
away. It's gonna kill the vibe.
Yes.
What vibe? You're not having a good time. What vibe are
Yeah.
you killing? Your vibe is
Exactly.
already dead. So might as well kill the vibe in general.
I love
Damn, that is so sad. And I'm so sad about that.
If you're not getting there, I'm not getting there. Let's just leave it at that.
I love the way like Murugi called it a gap. And that's the thing, like everything that involves men and women involves this huge gap where men come out on top.
Yeah.
Even orgasms. And I feel like from an early age, young women are taught to be afraid of our own bodies. Like cover up so that you don't attract too much attention. Or even if you find a woman that is serious about her pleasure, it makes a man think, oh, she must be promiscuous. No, you don't think this is someone who respects herself. This is someone who also wants to have a good time in doing something that's so intimate and, she also wants to get her part in it. So I think it's also that systemic kind of thing that is just deep down in us, like the way Tanya said, like, womanhood is enduring, like this is not about me. And also I think also in African culture we are told like sex is for reproducing.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something, most of the people who are having sex in this here Kenya today are not doing it to reproduce. They're doing everything they can
for reproduction. They're practicing
Yes.
so that when the time comes.
Yeah, so I just think that's just, and we'd never hold women to the same account. So it's really sad, the orgasm gap.
Yeah.
And also, let me just say, orgasm is not the point of sex all the time. Like it's good, but it doesn't have to be like the point all the time. And and yes, like
Do you think men feel that way? Because
No,
I definitely
No, I do not.
I was saying this. For me personally, that's like a fact that I know somewhere in my mind, but I just don't live it as my reality.
Yeah.
Like for me, I just feel like when we're having sex, if at least one of us has not reached there, I'm like, what was the point?
of this?
Why are we
Dinner.
here? Why are we here? One of us has to reach at some point, because otherwise it's just like, okay, then now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that I put it, I don't put it like on him, like you. For me, I always feel like, why is it that for me, I don't feel it's as important that I orgasm, but I feel like our sexual experience is not done until he orgasms. Again, that's me. You see the way we were raised and the way you grew up, just thinking like when he's done, we are done kind of thing. So I still have to do a lot of unlearning with regards to
Yeah.
that. But also I feel like when I'm thinking about how men they're not really taking it upon themselves to learn how to pleasure you or whatever, everyone's pleasure is their own responsibility. The only thing is that now us as women, we have taken on the responsibility of pleasuring them also. So we carry it on our backs. But I always enter every sexual experience just telling myself it's my responsibility to ensure I get what I want out of this experience. So if I want him to do something, sometimes, by the way, I'll send my man like videos like the day before I know we are going to be doing something, and I'll be like, Ebo, look at this technique.
Yeah.
People are doing.
intriguing.
Yeah, see, look at this, other some techniques, from educational websites. It could even be a write-up so that it's like, oh, these are different things that I want to try. That way, then I can't be there saying, how comes he didn't research on how to do this? Because I have actually told you this is what I want. Now now just do it. Now if you do that and then your man says no, that's now problematic. Get a new man.
I love that. I find that so intentional, because I think we began this conversation saying how people are uncomfortable talking about sex and where do we get our information from about sex. And honestly, the thought came to my mind, like so rarely or so few women can say that they get information about sex from their sexual partners, because many, like it's quite common for people not to be able to like communicate what they need, especially sexually, you know, in a relationship. Like you can't sit with someone and say, oh, you know, you usually do this and I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel nice. Or if you did this, it would make me feel a little bit better. Or like, let's not do that. And it's so common. And women often do things, either have sex or do things within that they don't want to do, because you're like, okay, it's about him, and it's not about you. So yeah, we also need to be more comfortable talking about sex with the people that you're having sex with. Like actually talk to them about it, have a conversation beforehand, because I feel like there's still a disconnect.
Right. I feel like in terms of like sexual experiences, sometimes it's about him. Sometimes this particular like isolated sexual experience is about him. Other times it's about me. Other times it's about us both. I feel that way, because it's hardly ever that it's all of them. It's all both of us are going to enjoy whatever. Also, some things I feel like I'm generally an adventurous sexual person. I feel like I'm willing to try anything at least once, without necessarily like slamming it. After that one time, if I tried and I don't like it, I'll stop. But let me ask you guys, how many of us are willing to stop in the middle of our sexual experience and be like, you know what, I'm not really enjoying that. Can we try something else? Have you all ever done it?
I feel like I'm the enjoying type.
Not anecdotally, yeah. Like physically, have you ever been like, oh, you know what, I'm not really enjoying that. Let's stop.
It's a thought in my mind, but are you actually going to actualize like the all stopping? The same thing I said before, the killing the vibe. You don't want to be like, oh, now you're boring.
Kill it.
Yeah.
And do you think men think like that?
They really do not. I feel like if they're uncomfortable, they'll just be like, ugh.
So what stops you from saying?
I don't know, man. It's the brainwash. I feel like we've been brainwashed.
Lord
Brainwashed
help us.
so
No,
bad.
but you know, the thing is, like we say consent can be withdrawn at any given time. If it's not good, then stop. But yeah, I think like more women need to actually like internalize that, because so much of womanhood is people pleasing, making everybody happy, and it's and I'm telling you, these things, yes, we talk about them in a context of sex, but they come from like a much like bigger issue altogether, right? So it's like you're even in the moment, and I find some men are strange, because it's like even the guy can tell that there is a disconnect. This person is not enjoying this, but they're okay. Like them, they're good as long as they get what they wanted in the end, or what they needed in the end, right? Consent can be withdrawn at any time. If it's not feeling good, stop. Just say, listen, stop. It's enough. I'm good. Like,
but again,
try
easier
again
said than
another
done.
time.
Because now imagine you're at this Airbnb, you guys had been saving for this
Whole
Airbnb,
weekend.
you
But
know,
you can
you do
enjoy
whatever.
it.
And then
Night,
now,
you have Saturday, Sunday.
you know, and you're like, okay, now if I say stop now and whatever. So yeah, easier said than done. But I feel like we just need to get better at saying it. We just need to practice saying it out loud to each other.
Actually.
No,
Yeah.
stop, Tanya. I'm not comfortable. Stop.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
We've talked so much about sex from the perspective of choosing to have sex, but choosing not to have sex is also just as empowering, and it's still your
That's
choice.
what
to
she
make.
said.
Yeah, you can choose not to have sex. You can choose to stop having sex. You can choose to become a virgin again, even though I don't believe in the concept of virginity. You can choose. You can choose, and you can say stop. And hey, sex is sex, but intimacy is something else. So if you booked that Airbnb and right now you're not feeling it, like stop, watch a movie, get a cuddle, have talk.
Not feeling.
Yeah,
Right.
And by the way, if you are sleeping with someone who makes you feel bad, and now the vibe is off, now he doesn't want to talk to you just because you didn't want to have sex, then leave the Airbnb, go cry and get over it. But he didn't deserve to be your space.
You're not probably not even safe. And what you said about, I really like what you said about your own pleasure is your responsibility, because you can even look at about self-exploration.
Exactly.
So you as a woman, you can explore your own womanhood to know what you like. So it's not that you're just going there, I don't like this. Okay, what do you like? I don't know, but I don't like this
one, yeah.
So it's like, I don't like this, but I do like this. Can we try this? Make me feel comfortable and make me feel hard.
Yeah.
And let me do what I need to do to figure out what I like. You understand?
Right, yeah.
And don't be shamed for it.
I like that. I like that. Also, it's like sometimes in the sexual experience, it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I'm enjoying it, and then stop, this is horrible. I feel like during the experience, there's like opportunity for you to say things in like a feminine way. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's say he's doing something that's a bit painful, just like, oh, I would love it if you did it softer. You know, like, oh, wow, that feels so good. Maybe let's try like this as well. I don't know why in my head I'm like, yeah, exactly. So that you're not ruining the vibe, but you're getting what you want. So it's like kind of like a dichotomous kind of situation in there. Yeah.
Back and be like, no,
Yeah,
stop.
stop.
Like, wait,
I'm withdrawing my consent.
yeah, like you have to do it in a way that it's kind of, you know, in the setting, because also you wouldn't want this man to be like, oh, stop.
Exactly.
And you're like, wait, what am I
Then
doing
now
wrong?
everybody is anxious.
Yes.
There's what do you call it? A campaign that I think Adele Onyango ran a few years ago called No Means No, where she was talking about consent and how at any point in the sexual experience I can say no. We can be like halfway and you're about to get there and I say no and that means no.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like it's still a prominent issue right now in terms of like, let's say people are in a relationship, if you say no, do you think your boyfriend actually hears it as like no, or does he hear it as like oh, you know, she's just playing hard to get kind of thing, or it's whatever, because you know, yeah,
I'm sorry,
exactly.
it is.
Yeah,
no, if that's still, I think that's still a thing. I think as much as we teach ourselves about standing firm in our choices, we also like men need to hear us when we say. And so that's why I can agree, maybe you might want to withdraw your consent in a feminine way, but it depends on how you're feeling. You might just want to be like, actually get the hell off me. And if that's what you want to say that. Like you don't have to tiptoe around people's feelings all the time. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get emotional, but as women we are always having to like tiptoe around people's feelings and oh the poor guy, oh you've made him feel bad, oh
whereas
must
he will
really
initially
feel
throw you,
bad.
he'll toss you to the ground and be like, get off
Say a
me.
word, you know,
Yeah.
get up and leave.
Yeah, so and yes, I come back to consent can be withdrawn at any time, and it's not a suggestion. Saying no is not a suggestion.
Yeah.
And why are men so okay with making women uncomfortable? Like even sometimes I could be out somewhere and this guy is just staring me down and I give you a look like,
Yeah.
and then they think I'm like, what about makes you like want to wink at me? Yeah. Like, you know, and I've been in situations where I've actually had to tell men like, you're making me uncomfortable, and they continue to make you uncomfortable, and
don't
it's like I feel
understand
like
that
that should be illegal.
I have a theory. I have a theory with regards to that. You see how earlier we were saying the way women, you're told that sex is painful, don't do this, whatever. Maybe in those rooms, men are told when she looks like she doesn't want you, that's when she wants you.
Play
So
hard to
because
get.
I can't imagine that as a human, you can see somebody is repulsed by what you're doing and you're continuing to do it. I feel like maybe sometimes they are like raised to believe that, first of all, women, you have a right to all women. You have a right to all women, and like literally it's just a matter of like selecting the one that you want and that you have a right. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's also what's leading to like all these cases of femicide and whatever. Somebody rejects you and you're like, how dare she reject me? You know, because they can't imagine that you can say no, like who are you to say no kind of thing. So I feel like maybe there needs to be more conversations, maybe even that's what he said kind of like podcast where men, they have conversations about like, actually when a woman says she doesn't want you, guess what? Maybe she doesn't want you.
Yeah.
Maybe she's being honest.
She's probably
maybe exactly. Because maybe they think it's like an act that you want to be pursued.
You know how frequently I hear men talk about maybe like their celebrity crushes, and they'll be like, oh yeah, so and so is such a baddie, walai nikipatana na huyo. Like, and it's like, what makes you think? Like
That
what?
she would-
Yeah, like
She was
what
reciprocating.
makes you think? And you see the guy, and you're just like, oh my goodness,
Right,
like
yeah.
you need a reality check so bad. I don't know where men get the confidence, because like men are always, I think like African culture again, from when you're a boy, let's say you're a boy in a house full of girls, like you're treated like all that, so you grow up thinking like just because you're a man, you have like some sort of social capital, you have some sort of like you're elevated just because of the genitalia you are born with. Whereas for women, we are taught like dial it back, chill, calm down, like you're doing too much. You know?
Even sexually, they talk about, most of the times you find when you're talking about dominance and being submissive, rarely do you hear it's the man who's being submissive.
Exactly.
Since when?
In
Actually,
private,
yeah.
he's being submissive, he's probably being tied up.
Exactly.
But in public, he's like, I'm the
He's
man
like, I'm the
here.
man, I'm the dominant part.
Kumbe.
And
Yeah.
God forbid a lady says she wants to be dominant in the bedroom. They're gonna feel like it's so aggressive. Like probably she is behind closed doors and they're okay with it. But like talking about it verbally, it's so masculine. Like when a lady says that she wants to be dominant or she wants to be the one in charge. And sometimes it's just for the fun of it. Maybe outside here I'm just a girl and I know I'm dating.
Kumbe.
And I want to reverse the roles and kinda, feel how it feels to have this power. And it's
Yeah.
kinda empowering when I think about it. It's empowering for me to be there and tell the man, do this. And he's actually like, okay, yes. Oh my
Yes.
God, imagine the power.
Now
It's
you
like,
just told us your kink. We don't slut shame. We don't kink shame here.
Please, no
All
kink
kinks are
shaming.
valid.
And also
All
about
kinks
the
are valid.
consent
Yeah.
when it comes to kinks. Maybe you want
Yeah.
to try something new. You have to be vocal and tell this to your partner because it's not that you're between sessions and now you just want to start tying them down. And now
Right. Yeah.
Am I
Excuse
safe?
me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Conversation.
I can say no at that point
Yeah.
because I'm feeling unsafe. And your man is there like, no, we are trying something new. Talk to me about
Yeah.
it. You can just come with a rope in the room and I don't know what this rope is for.
And it's really not that hard because it's like, for example, if I don't know, I'm inviting you guys over for dinner, I'll ask you, is there anything you don't eat? So why is it that in the bedroom people can't sit down and be like, oh, there's this thing I've always wanted to try.
Yeah.
You don't just like spring it on someone in
Yeah.
the moment. Like,
Yeah.
of course, you'll feel a little bit like, wait, what? You can feel caught
Exactly.
off guard, and of course, that's a vulnerable time for you.
It is.
It's an emotional time.
Yeah.
For you.
Again, I feel like it all leads into this whole culture of shame is that everybody is having it, but the second you say it out loud, and now it's like, oh, Kwani, where did you even learn about, BDSM or whatever? It's like, you are a hoe, you must be loose, you must be whatever. But sometimes I ask myself, when is the best time to bring up these conversations of things you want to try?
Yeah.
It's like, I've found like in the immediate aftermath of a sexual experience, when now it's like, oh, wow, we're just lying there. Now it's just like, oh, babe, I've really been thinking maybe we can try, X and Y and Z or whatever. I don't know if it's the middle of the day, we're driving, we're on Uhuru Highway, and we're like,
Yeah.
by the way, umeona watu wanafungana kwa
Matatu guy is trying to swim.
there you are in the battle. It's just like, yeah, I've been thinking we tie each other up, babe. Let's just try. What is the best time for you guys? Have you seen with your sexual partners for you to bring up, like, oh, I want to try this, or I want to, experiment with this?
I do think like timing is everything in every conversation. I just think first of all privacy. That's the first
Right,
thing.
exactly.
I mean, like, I've been in groups. Maybe a group of you guys are playing truth or dare, and guys are talking about like, I generally till date, even being on this podcast, and I'll be very honest, I'm still shy talking about sex.
It doesn't show. I can tell you that, baby. It doesn't show.
I'm like sweating a little bit. So I'm still a little bit shy talking about it. But I think privacy is important. The approach is also important. And also be ready for feedback. Yeah, be ready. Because imagine you can tell someone and they'll be like, no, I don't like that.
And it can be okay.
Yeah. And I feel like too often with women, getting what we want or getting what we need from sex is often tied to what we are willing to give.
Right.
Right? So it's like, oh my goodness. I'm trying. It's like, okay, for example, when it comes to
Her man somewhere saying,
Yeah.
this is the one who and yesterday night, he's like, who you know, okay.
I feel like my ears, if you looked at my ears right now, they are red. Okay. I feel like even with women, for example, it's very common to hear from men like, oh, I don't give head. Men say, DJ Khaled said it, right? And I like the way Nicki Minaj said, ain't no fat guy telling me what he ain't eating. That's what she said to say it, right? But very rarely will you hear women like owning the fact that they don't,
Yeah.
So because so often, and if a woman doesn't do it, the guy will be like, then I'm not gonna do it for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So why is it that what I need is tied to what I'm willing
Yeah,
to
and
give?
why must it
Like
be like a Like if you want to
Exactly.
do it, you do it. If I don't want to do it, let me not do it. Like let's have a
Yes.
conversation around that. It doesn't have to be like now because me I'm doing it. Pia wewe unafaa kufanya. Like
Yes.
calm down. Like
Yes.
calm down. We
Right.
can have a relationship, like a sexual relationship, and it doesn't have to be at the I give you this, now you have to give this back. Now
Yeah.
you give you this, you give me this back. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. It feels transactional to
When
me.
it comes to sex, like I don't see any need for compromise. Like that's such a act, like such an intimate, such an act that's one place where you don't need to be self-sacrificing. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. It's not about compromise. Like we compromise everywhere all the time. Like when it comes to your sexuality, don't compromise. Don't do what you don't want to do. Full stop.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest. I would say, and me, I'm now speaking from someone who is married and has been in a long-term relationship. I feel like any interaction, whether sexual or otherwise, that involves two people who are individuals, who have individual preferences, individual backgrounds, individual histories, will require some level of sacrifice at some point. However, I would say that the sacrifice should not be something that makes you feel like you're betraying yourself. So because obviously like now once you get into a relationship with a man, probably at the first month or 2 months is not when you're going to say all your kinks. I want you to suck my baby toe. You're not saying that on date one. You're saying that probably like now you've already been married 3 years. You know what I mean? So at that point, it's like if my partner brings something that for me it's not like my cup of tea, but I know that it'll make him really happy and I want to make him happy, I'm willing to try. And if it's something that he really, really wants, I'm willing to do it. But I also expect the same energy from him. I expect him also when I bring something, before you start saying, first of all, there's no 40. Yuck, what? That's what you like. Oh my God. How can you? No, yeah. That one, no. In any respectful sexual relationship, it needs to be that you're willing to at least hear me out. And unless it's something which is like putting our lives in danger or is a safety issue, I expect that you're going to be like, okay, I mean, let's try and see. Then if we try and it doesn't work out, then it's like, okay, fine, let's not do it. But some level of compromise, I feel like, is required. However, if it's something which is like a situationship or we've just met today, I'm not compromising for nothing. No.
And I like the way you said the compromise doesn't have to make you feel like
You're betraying
like you're
yourself.
betraying yourself.
Exactly.
Like yeah, okay, sometimes it can even be cute because at the end of the day, even as you're compromising, you might enjoy. You know?
You're
But I
discovering
just mean you're
something.
just doing something you're completely uncomfortable with for the sake of someone else. Like
Right.
It's not.
boundaries, baby. Yeah.
And what you said about bringing up certain issues, for me, I think it's about setting. So number one, the way you said privacy, because why are we having this conversation
Yes.
with our friends here and they're just like, hey, Connie, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
you guys.
Yeah.
Woo, yeah.
Exactly. So, and then Tena also, what you guys have been doing, so you kind of gauge from that. So
Yeah.
you've been doing this, I can tell you're kind of open to
Yeah,
more.
exactly.
So I can kind of bring it up and be like, oh, babe, I saw this article. I had this, TMI episode. I had this, that's what she said episode. Can we sit down and discuss if you're willing to try?
Right.
He says no, I'll be like, okay, why wouldn't you be willing to try? Maybe it's a safety issue for him. There's also that it brings up a bigger conversation even about your relationship.
Yeah.
And you can see where your partner is with you. Like, are they
Yes.
on the same wavelength as you? Are they willing to compromise? Or
Right.
they just disregard your points completely? They're like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
The guys will be like, no. And it could be like, even for religious backgrounds, who are like, some people who are having sex on their period, for example, and you'd be like, oh, I'm into that. And someone is like, no, I'm not willing to. Yeah, the compromise is there, but not on
Right,
this one.
yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
So I feel like and I agree what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a balance. You have to find like an equilibrium at the end of it. Yeah.
You see what I mean? And then I also feel like sometimes you don't even have to ask things out loud for you to know what your partner will think about them. Like sometimes, let's say you're just reading an article like, Aki babe, look what this person was doing at his sex on her period. What do you think about that? Oh, okay. So you can gauge. You see, you can kind of see. Yeah. And sometimes now, as you're saying it, you're like, why as women do we have to think about how someone is going to react or whatever? For me, I see it more as diplomacy. I see it more as like, how can I get what I want at the end of this interaction? If I know my man is this way and I'm trying to get him to do this, and I know that if I come and say, listen, I want for us to do this right now, and I know he's not gonna like that. How can I say it in a way that I eventually get what I want? maybe one time, maybe if your man likes to hear about your past sexual experiences, you start saying, oh, okay, my ex, he used to do this thing where he would, nibble on my knees, and I really, really liked it. Something random. Then how men, they're like, their ego will be like, oh, even me, I can do that. Yeah, you think me, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like, you just start seeing, like, how can you be able to, like, get what you want from the experience? What's something that you guys think we should completely do away with in 2025 with regards to sex?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think, like, in walking my talk and coming on this podcast, I think one thing we need to do away with in 2025 when it comes to sex is silence. Like, silence is dangerous, especially when it comes to this conversation, because I mean, I think about, like, the experiences that people had. I mean, sometimes, I'm getting to an age where even my grandmother, who got married at my age, and she opens up to me about, she's a mother, so of course she had sex. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. But, she talked to me about how for her it was always just like, she never ever once enjoyed it. And you realize, like, okay, maybe she didn't enjoy it because of XYZ. Maybe she's even asexual, like some people actually just they just don't like it, right? So I think that by doing away with silence and normalizing the conversation, why is it that I had so much anxiety coming here to have this conversation today? Because I don't want to face the kind of backlash that Murugi faces just because of talking about something that everybody does, that's natural, and that's not talked about enough. Like, as young women, we need support. As young women, we need information that is true and trusted also. Because, like you said, like, we can be talking about it with my girlfriends, but like a bunch of 14-year-olds, none of them know anything about sex. And maybe one of them is sexually active, or two of them are sexually active. And they're probably spreading misinformation like a hotbed. They are perambulating around, telling each other, like, I once worked with a certain grassroots organization that deals with survivors. And one time we were doing a training in Kajiado, and we heard of this young girl who got pregnant with someone who was around her age. I think she was like 13, the guy was like 15. And she told me that they used a condom. And I was like, so how did you get pregnant? Like, where did, so walk me through it. Do you know the guy had put the condom on his finger? And yeah, you guys are laughing, but imagine this is a really remote Maasai village.
I'm in shock.
It's
and
shocking.
disbelief.
And it's actually normal to, like, laugh a little bit when something but imagine, like, how you of course know what it is because of how you've been socialized. But imagine this a really remote village somewhere in Maasai land, like nobody knows anything about anything, So it's just an example. Of course, it's an extreme example, but it's just an example of the danger that comes with silence. So that's what I think we need to do away with. We
I
need
love
to
that.
talk about it.
Silence serves no one. Silence is actually dangerous for everyone.
Yes.
I find it so curious how, especially in women's spaces, it's like we can be here, we are 6 women, and maybe we are all having the same issue. All of us, we are having very painful periods, but because no one is saying anything, I feel like it's just me. I'm the only one suffering. I'm the only one struggling. I'm the only one going through this. But if it just would take me just saying, by the way, I've really been struggling with this, for you to be like, me too, and for you to be like, I also had that, but actually I went and I saw this person. Maybe let me send you the contact or whatever. Speaking up literally is the one of the biggest solutions to many of our problems that we are facing in this day and age, to be honest. So I love that one. Anything else? What do you think we should do away with in 2025?
Thinking that you're going through something alone and thinking it's normal.
Right.
You'd think like, oh, everyone is having painful periods. Then it has to be like this. Everyone is going through this. I think that it's like a problem that you personally have. I think that what we should do away with in this ripe age of 2025 is shame. Like, stop shaming anyone who's having sex. Stop shaming anyone who's not having sex. Because at this age, you'll find like someone, for example, your age is like, oh, I'm not having sex. You're 30-something and you're not having sex.
Right.
Where have you been? Do you live under a rock? That
do
shame
it.
about being
Oh my
a virgin in
gosh.
this day and age.
Yes.
Let's probably, like you said, they're asexual. They don't like,
Yeah.
the act of sex in itself. They probably like intimacy in other forms.
Yes.
Hand holding, having
Yes.
being intimate. And that's okay. No one has to come at you or you're not having sex, you should have sex because everyone is having sex.
Yeah.
That's backwards of us. Same thing applies when it comes to like people who are exploring themselves, for example. oh, you people are masturbating. Oh my God, God forbid. You know, you must be, there's something wrong with you if you want to
And
explore
men
your
do
own
it
body.
so much. Yeah.
So you want a guy to explore your body fully and you're comfortable with him exploring fully and no one has a problem with that. But when it comes to me, my own body that I live with every day,
There is a problem.
that is a problem.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't make sense. And shame is something that we really should disregard at this point. Let everyone do everything that is serving them and that is not hurting anyone else.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Yeah.
One thing that I feel like we need to do away with in 2025 is double standards. Double standards when it comes to imagining how men and women approach sex.
Yeah.
The idea that, oh, when a man cheats, you know, it's just physical. But when it's a woman, it's emotional. It's at you, for you, it's your heart, whatever. No, sometimes women just want to have sex also. It doesn't always have to be
Yes.
emotional. When it comes to how much research is done with regards to women's sexual health and men's sexual health, it should be equal. When it comes to giving information about how you can enjoy sex, it should be equal for men, it should be equal for women. I feel like there's an extent to which I feel we have made strides in African society, but we have such a long way to go. Such a long way. And sometimes I think people, you see groups like this and podcasts like That's What She Said, we are like almost like pioneers. And being pioneers in any field where now it's like, oh, we are trying to bring this into the societal fold, it comes with its own risks.
Yeah.
And some of the risks is people shaming you, people saying, oh, you're such a loose woman. Oh, how dare you talk about that? What are you wearing? You're asking for it. Those kinds of things. And it's kind of like we have to, when I think about how many other women are coming behind us who are depending on us, speaking up, having these conversations, being able to say out loud, actually, this is right, this is wrong. How many women are depending on us to have conversations like this? It's like we don't have an option of keeping quiet. We don't have the option of silence. We don't have the option of accepting double standards. We don't have the option of accepting shame.
Yeah.
For sure.
Breath, like you'd be surprised even when you guys are going through your page and your podcast and you look at when people are giving entries and you're like, what do you mean you guys are suffering in silence like
Yeah.
this?
Yes.
Because they don't have anyone to talk about it. They don't have this information from anywhere else.
Right.
They're watching the show and they're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
God, I need to give my experience as well. Even I'm pretty sure that people were gonna see this video and they're gonna look at it and they're gonna be like, oh, I should not keep this to myself. I probably need to see a doctor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have a problem that you need to see a doctor, but you're just like, sitting with it and like, endurance,
Right.
womanhood, and no.
Period. And when you talk about like how many women are counting on us to have this conversation, I think like when we were outside and even before we started, I was like, I don't know, I'm having a rough time with this because on one hand, I like signed myself up for That's What She Said because I really believed that this is the conversation that we need to have, right? When we came to That's What She Said, we were allowed to choose what we wanted to talk about, and this was a choice. I wanted to come here and talk about sex because we need to talk about sex. Women are depending on us to talk about it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yet, and the crazy thing is, I was very sure of myself. I was very sure of what my delivery was going to be. But it was the men in my life that were telling me like, Tatiana, are you sure? You've been
What is
doing all
new?
these things and you've been building this brand and you're just gonna throw away everything you've worked for. And I really hate that I let it like get to my head. Like now in these spaces when I'm like, because I knew what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
When I signed up, I knew what I was doing when, I chose this topic, when I chose to sit down with you guys, So it ties into everything we're saying, like we're breaking the silence. We're not going to have double standards and we're certainly not going to be ashamed.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel like definitely extend yourself grace because I feel like that hesitation, even for me, who has conversations about sex weekly, every single time still I do it, I am faced with the reality when I see comments that this is not a normal thing, that so many people are still very uncomfortable with a woman saying the word sex out loud. But I am like, it has taken years of women and Black women, African women being shamed for enjoying sex, for wanting sex, for speaking about it. It's also going to take years to undo it. So, it's just like I feel like the journey has just only recently started. I would say like 10, 15 years ago. So I feel like there's still some work to be done. And I'm so happy to be part of it. And I'm so glad about the work That's What She Said is doing because all these things move the needle forward a little bit. And by the time we are 90, women will be walking down the street saying sex, sex, sex,
Yeah.
sex.
And what
Sex.
about it?
Sex, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I said already at the beginning of this episode that I am in my mid-30s. I'm actually 35. Sometimes when I say that out loud, girl,
You don't look it. You don't look a day over 21.
My bad.
that's
My
what
bad.
I'm always saying. I'm like, I'm not 21. I'm 35 actually. But I feel like since from when I started having sex to the sex that I'm having right now, I have really definitely evolved, and I know that you guys have as well. I would say that initially I had no business having sex with a 15-year-old. Let me be the first one to say this. In fact, if you even ask me now, like that at that time, no one knows anything. If I could turn back time, I feel like I would have started at 25, to be honest, because everything before that was kind of like very experimental. I don't feel like I knew what I was doing. I don't think it was like I was giving consent in the way that I understand consent now. And I would say that for me, I wish that I had waited a bit longer. But I definitely would say that after 25, I got married at 26. So before 25, like let me say between 20 and 25, I think that's where like I was very explorational. Is that a word? Exploratory. Explorative. You've made that up for sure. Definitely. That's
I
what
heard
it
when I
is.
said it.
Yeah,
I was like, wait.
exploratory. Yeah, I feel like I was.
English teacher
Yeah, you know, I feel like I was definitely like more exploratory. I was willing pretty much to just like, oh, okay, fine. Let me see how this feels. Let me see, you know, what this is. But I very much remember myself not being so completely in my body. You know how it's like you don't really know yourself as well. So of course, if you don't know yourself, even if someone else comes and tells you, actually, no, this is what women like, you're like, okay, yeah, I guess so, you know, kind of thing. I would say after 25, definitely I could see myself like now coming into my own, like I know I definitely don't like this. I definitely like this. But in my 30s, that's where, and I know you guys are still far from 30s, but let me tell you, it's sweet. It's sweet in the 30s because I feel like in the 30s, now you're just kind of like, you see that level of compromise that you're saying that you're just not willing to, whatever. That's where I am right now. And if you've reached there actually, wherever you are right now, better for you, because I feel like for people, especially millennials, it has taken us a while for us to get to the place of like, actually, no, I don't want this. I like this. I want to try this kind of thing. So right now, I would say I'm enjoying the best sex of my life. I could say that. Yeah, I could say that. What does your sexual evolution look like?
Personally, I feel like number one, I made a pact with myself when I was pretty young. I was like, I remember in high school, people would like give us stories of them having sex, and I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What do you think you're? So I made a pact with myself, like I wouldn't make.
How old are you, first of all?
Oh, I'm 22, turning 23.
Nice.
So
okay.
I made a pact with myself, like I wouldn't have sex before 18. Like after high school, like when I'm an adult now, I'll start thinking about it. I'm open to it. So I already made that pact with myself. So I knew as much as I'm hearing stories, and the same thing you were saying, misinformation, because I'm thinking about those stories
Yeah.
in high school right now. I'm like, yo, what were we
gosh,
doing out here? Yeah.
anything.
And most of it was like male driven. Most of it because like at that point you're probably having sex with older men, and they're the ones who are like teaching you.
Right.
Yeah. And by older men, I mean like now guys or my age and going for people in high school. So they're like, oh, older men, and they're teaching you. At that point, we don't really know exactly what
And even
we want.
them, what do they
Yeah.
know?
Exactly. And even them being men,
Yeah,
what do they know?
exactly.
So for me, I feel like it was more of same way, experimental a bit. And right now it's more of self-realization.
Right.
It's more of like, what do you really want to do? What are you not willing to compromise? Like, is protection, if you're not gonna go with it, might as well leave it alone. You're not gonna pressure me to do something I don't want to.
You don't want to do.
I don't want to do. I want to respect myself enough to do the things that even later on I'm gonna sit with it and I'm gonna be like, okay, that was cool. That was nice. I actually enjoyed that. Not sit, because there's so many times I've sat with myself and I'm like, oh, I regret that so bad. So it makes me have a really love-hate relationship with sex, which I'm like trying to, regrow and relearn. So
Right.
that's my evolution.
Sometimes I feel like those sexual experiences are kind of important because they show you don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Because remember how you were feeling afterwards. Like I think all of us have some L that we take at some point, and you're just like, damn it, no, never again, kind of thing. And if you hadn't gone through it, maybe you wouldn't have ever gone to that point of realization. So it is what it is, What about you?
First of all, regret is a construct. It's that thing we were talking about when we were talking about shame. So yeah, I mean, I think to a certain extent, hold yourself accountable and be like, okay, I could have avoided that situation, but like Murugi said, it's like you're developing a playbook of what not to do. And you're like, hey, been there and not going back.
Exactly.
My journey or my evolution is dynamic. It's still fluid. It's still happening. But I think the most important thing is that it's mine, and I am the I define it.
That's
you know?
what she said.
Yeah, I'm the one defining my sexuality, my journey, and I'm starting to see my desire as my power instead of it being something I'm afraid of or ashamed of, like, my wants and my needs are something that I refuse to now be like, like, no, I'm not allowed to feel that way. I'm not allowed to talk about feeling that way.
Right.
And I'm claiming it as something that's powerful for me. And also, like, me being an activist, everything to me, I think, especially having such conversations and standing in your sexuality and being proud of it, whatever your choice is, it's like an act of feminism. It's an act of defiance. So yeah, and the last thing is also viewing sex from an experience for me and not for other people. So
Right,
yes, it takes 2 to tango, maybe 3, maybe 4, whatever you're into.
Even 10. We don't judge.
Yo, 6 weeks.
But at the same time, it's very important, like, for that to be an experience that honors me.
Right.
And choice, like I said, it's all about choices, whether I choose to have sex, whether I choose not to have sex. The most important thing about my evolution is that it's my own.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I love what you said about your desire is your power. Like,
Yeah.
literally, it's yours and you own it. And I feel like that already puts you in such an empowered space to be able to speak up for what you want and also to just empower others. Because I'm sure there are people who are watching this and who are just like, okay, if there are people like, Tatiana and people like Tanya, even me, why can't I, also believe that? I sometimes, in fact, when I'm listening to you guys speaking, I'm wondering if you guys represent the majority of girls your age or women your age, or if you guys are outliers. Would you say that a lot of like girls your age or women your age are like you, or would you say that you're the one who's like, no, you're the one who's now showing them the way?
You don't have to be like me. Just be yourself, and that's it. Like, as
Right.
long as whatever you're doing is your own, and you're not like, basing your decisions off of this and
I
that
have
and
to be
that
this
person,
way,
or I
need
have to
this
be
way.
like this person. Like, for example, growing up, I still do love Beyonce, but literally there was a time in my life I had to I know
I thought she was gonna I was like, Beyonce. Yeah, I was something really, just like mind blowing. I was about to be like,
no,
okay.
like, it was an obsession.
Right.
I used to I used to tell myself, like, if I'm going to die, the last thing I'm going to say is Beyonce, so that it's the last word that leaves my lips. It was a cult. So I actually called myself to a meeting one day, and it was like, this woman doesn't even know anything about
She has no idea.
has no idea who you are, and in fact, you don't even know her. You don't know what she does. Maybe she eats children. I still love Beyonce.
God.
Yeah. So I realized this thing of like looking at people and saying like, wow, idolizing them. Like, just do you, just be yourself, and if you can watch this video and feel like, wow, if these guys can do it, so can I.
That's the
That's
point.
good, but let it be yours to begin with.
Right, yeah. Starting with idolize yourself first of all, because like even you deserve to be, that kind of idolized like that. What about you? Would you say that you're representative of women your age?
Yeah, I think it's the people you associate yourself with. So in the group that I'm in,
Yeah.
people are like me and they're vocal about their experiences,
Right,
and we talk about it. And sex is not a taboo topic in my circle. So I'd say I'm representing the friends that I have.
Right.
But I don't know about the majority, I've not been in other places where I've had conversations and be like, oh my God, like what is happening here? So I think it's just the people I interact with, we're in the same mindset, we're in the same wavelength. So it's not like I'm different because I'm talking about it. Everyone is talking about it.
Right.
It feels normal.
Right. Go ahead.
Just to add, I think like all of us here represent women from different generations, from our generation, because like reflecting on the conversation that we've had today, we've talked a lot about choice, right? So whether you're celibate, whether you're saving yourself for marriage, whether you have multiple partners, like we are rooting for you. Like, we just want you to do what works for you.
Exactly.
So if that's the case, then I can say all of us here are representing not only women from our respective generations, but just women. in general.
Exactly, yeah. I definitely feel like if someone didn't take anything away from this conversation, it's that you deserve to be having good sex. Me, I want everyone to have good sex. Like, let the sex not just to be, if sex is feeling painful or uncomfortable for you, that's actually an issue. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It shouldn't be painful.
Yeah.
In fact, for me, the benchmark of good sex is just like, did I have a good time? And having a good time can mean different things. Earlier in the episode, you said that it didn't necessarily need to lead to orgasm. That is still up for debate. But I would say for me, a good sexual experience is just that I enjoyed myself. You know, do you think there's a standard that this is good sex and this is bad sex, or how would you define like, okay, yeah, this sex with this guy, it was good, and this other person, it was bad?
I think it's personal.
Still, yeah.
Like it's different for everybody, you know. Some people, good sex is no sex at all, you know.
Right.
But I like your benchmark of like, at the very least, it should not hurt.
Yeah.
It should not make you wanna like cry. And I guess the advice I would give young women is, who are you having sex with? Like, how do you really feel about that person? Now, I'm not saying you have to sleep with someone who you're emotionally connected, you only have to sleep with your boyfriend, or, you know, but like that's something that I find, I'm not going to call it sacred, because I feel like when you say that, it's like, you know, your body is a temple kind of thing, and you know how that has been used. Exactly. But as in, this is something that will affect your mental health, because by the time you're sleeping with someone, it's not like you're just doing that and then it's out the door. Like, this is someone who you've given a little piece of yourself, you have a little piece. So, you know, don't like, if you can't even listen to him talk, he gets on your nerves, you know, like yeah, you know, I would say, I would bring it to that, like, is this someone that you just have a vibe with altogether, and someone you trust,
Right.
someone you trust not to hurt you, someone you trust cares about your experience. I think that's the most important thing, and someone who is worthy of that trust, because sometimes you can trust someone and they show you shege.
Yeah. So good sex, the benchmark of good sex is primarily based on who you're having the sex with.
Relationship.
The relation,
It doesn't
exactly.
have to necessarily be romantic, lifelong, but just
that moment.
Right, yeah. I completely agree with you. Actually, sometimes I feel like women, we are having sex with people who hate us. Like, some of these men hate you as a person. Like, they hate you. And it's easy to tell, because when you're saying ouch, he doesn't care that you've said ouch. He's not like, oh, baby, have I hurt you? Are you okay?
I'm
Like, you know,
almost
kind
done.
of like, you know, or him, you know, there's nothing sexier than like a man who can just tell he's so focused on you in the sexual experience. Like, he wants you to have a good time. That's how sex should be. You know, it's not like at every single time it's just on me. Sometimes it's him, but like, I need to be able to tell that you care about how I am, you know, being able to experience this thing. It's not just you. I'm not just a teddy bear that you've just inserted your thingy in. It's like, you know, we are two people here, you know. What about for you?
For me, safety number one. Like, I want to be in an environment where I feel like safe. After I'm getting out of here, I'm sitting down with myself. I know, you know, I'm not sick. I'm not, if I don't want to get pregnant, I'm not getting pregnant. Like, some element of safety regarding on what safety means to you, right? For me, and also aftercare. Aftercare is gonna like put a lot into the sexual experience, because maybe it was not even the best sex of your life, but the way he took care of you afterwards, like there was pillow talk. It's not just like afterwards, like, yo, come on, let's have
What
a
if I'm sleepy? What if I want to sleep?
It's fine if you want to sleep, but you know,
But it's not fine when he wants to sleep.
that's the double standard.
Double
I'm going to accept that one. Because if me personally, I want to watch a movie, no, you want to tell me that no, calm down, let's cuddle me, you know, let's have some sort of aftercare, let's have some water, let's put on a movie, let's talk about the experience, you know, like, let's have, like, it was not just a, you know, done. No, it means something to me. Although, like, the way you're saying, it doesn't have to be to be in a relationship as per se.
Yeah.
It can be okay for us to have sex and not be in a relationship, but also aftercare is important.
Yes.
That is gonna benchmark good sex for me, because afterwards I wanna feel like, oh, I enjoyed that experience. It's like customer service when you go to a restaurant. You go to a restaurant and like they handle you with care. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I really enjoyed.
Did you enjoy your
experience."
meal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you even want to tip them.
Yeah.
So it kind of same thing.
Now there are other women probably who don't want that aftercare.
Shut up.
Now we finish. Yeah, it's like you don't want to be
No,
reminded
I
that this
don't.
person.
I don't believe for that. I feel like it would be the same thing you said. People are having sex with people they don't like.
Oh,
that's,
right.
that's a
That's
situation
the-
where you're having sex with someone you actually don't want to.
But we
Right.
said, hey, like that benchmark is quite personal.
Yeah.
It's something different for other people. Like, just, what Murugi likes, what Tanya likes is not what Tatiana likes, is not what we value. We don't place the same value on the same things.
Yeah.
But, some things are standard, like safety. I
Yeah.
really love that.
Yeah.
I think safe sex, the concept of safe sex is like, it's not talked about enough in conversations about sex. Like, of course, every time we're having this conversation, it's all fun and games. Like, oh yeah, this is fun. You know what? Anal, oral, I don't know what. But really, I know sometimes it comes as a downer in conversations about sex, but it's literally the most important part of it is ensuring we're having safe sex. And I remember there was a time, was it in the 90s? Before you guys were around, I don't know if it was the 90s or the 2000s, where the government really used to run campaigns of ABC of sex. I think it was abstain. A was abstain. B was
Barrier.
Oh
No?
my God, what are you talking?
I don't know.
for that's what she said. Podcast, we are gonna say be careful.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna say yeah. But I guess that was like within the context of a relationship. But you can see obviously even the government was imagining probably that we are mostly having sex within the context of relationships.
Yeah.
But the reality is that that's not necessarily the case. Have you spoken about multiple sexual partners? Sometimes it's just a situationship. Sometimes it's somebody who is not even your own partner, and you don't know where that person has been yesterday, going to be tomorrow. But I feel like the safety element is really, really important. I don't think people are scared enough about the diseases that are out here, guys.
Because they think they're not there. They really, people think that, HIV is something we think about. It's not something. That's actually what people think.
Bring
But
back
you can-
fear of AIDS.
Yeah. And we were having a debate the other day about when it comes to contraceptives, about effectiveness and comfortability. Like, what would you
Right.
choose? Effectiveness or comfortability? Me personally...
Of contraception.
Yeah. Me personally, I said comfortability because at the end of the day, I want to be safe, but I also want to be comfortable. You see that I feel like it comes down to that mentality of endurance still. Because, I want something that is painful. It's 100% effective, but it's not the most comfortable thing. So as a woman, I should take that contraception that is not safe, like it's not comfortable for me, but at least I'm being safe.
It's 2025 and women still have to bear the burden of birth control. And I don't think that's fair. Like, you're told, like, okay, you can take the pill, but side effects include blood clots, which could lead to a heart attack.
And shit over
Mood swings, you're also going to be steaming. Every time you
Yeah.
stand up, you're also going to sweat from
Throw
your
up.
knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you can also get like a non-hormonal one, but that one hurts. And also, like, your partner won't like it. Why? Because, like, he can feel it. I don't know. I've had all sorts of stories around, like, what's it called? The intrauterine device, right? So it's 2025 and women still have to bear the burden of birth control. And it's like what you said, like, the medical research needs to be the same because you can't tell me all these years nobody thought, like, oh, maybe we should make a birth control for men. And then it's like men will be like, so I'm just supposed to be shooting blanks. Like, yes. Imagine. Like, we put up with so much and it's so unequal.
I know.
And back to the conversation on safety, I feel like we need to broaden our perspective of what safe sex is. Because even if this person didn't hurt you or you didn't do it unconsensually, and I put that in quotes because sometimes we think we are giving consent, but we aren't really. But afterwards, you feel maybe you didn't feel cared for, and you kind of want to cry, or or you just feel like sad afterwards, or you just feel like this guy amekutupa, or
Amekutumia.
exactly, or you just didn't enjoy it altogether. You tried to have a conversation about what you like, but this person wasn't very receptive. That contributes to making you feel unsafe. When I talked about we think we are giving consent, but we are not. Women, and it's very common for women to give half-life consent. Like, okay,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's really consent. Consent is like enthusiastic. Consent is like, come here, like, right,
Literally.
like, let's go.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't settle for anything less than that. So already at the point you're like, okay, that's a compromise on your safety, because you're not feeling safe, you're not feeling secure. So yes, safety is like, let's bring back fear of STIs. And I don't know if it's true, but I feel like in our generation, we are more scared of pregnancy than we are
It is
scared of
Definitely,
disease,
yeah.
you know.
People want to go around not using protection, but
Yeah.
like when it comes to like, oh, you might be pregnant, it's like
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
Which
know,
is
all health-
crazy.
It's crazy
Yeah.
to me. Like what you said about male contraceptives. We want to start. We are building AIs. We are building, robots.
And you're
But
telling me
male
there's no
contraceptives where we-
injection.
I
You guys
know.
want
There's
to
no
go
ma-
to Mars? Like,
Yeah.
wait.
We are going to
Actually
Mars. We are into the
crazy.
moon. I mean, Katy
Yeah.
Perry was on the moon. But
Literally.
male contraceptives, we don't want to.
That's where we have
That's
drawn
where
the
like
line. Yeah.
the line.
You can see how like the world is also like kind of male dominated.
Yeah.
Because why is this not a thing that I know there's research going on and there's like
There's
trials.
prototypes.
Yeah, there's prototypes of it. But also when it comes down to it, men already feel it's the responsibility of the woman to take. Like this is you're the one who's gonna get pregnant, so you
Yeah,
deal with it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Which
you
is
deal with
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
You take a pill every day for the rest of your life.
There's an
Whatever.
episode on That's What She Said podcast that's about women's health and that disparity. So you should definitely go and watch it. That's our audience.
Rugi is such a
Yes,
professional.
you know. Yeah, and yeah, so we are in that conversation we're talking about like the disparities between like why is women's health so ignored for so long? Why do so many things still hurt for us? Whereas if one thing is painful for a man, tomorrow they'll have 28 different ways in which they can combat
stop
that
the
pain.
pain.
But you will cry until 2020s do you win. But I really like what you've said about like the safety. I feel like I don't know if it's like getting older, but I've just made peace with the fact that you know what, this is this burden of like the burden of reproductive health or the burden of contraception is on me. I try to see it more as like it's a privilege. I get to decide what it is that I want. It's me fooling myself that actually, that's the way that it should be. But I'm just like, okay, at least it's a privilege. I get to decide how I'm going to take care of myself. I get to decide, whether I'm going to use the pill or use the whatever. But I wish it wasn't that way. I definitely wish it wasn't that way. But I also feel like now as women, as the empowered women, it's on us to have more of those conversations with men and be like, babe, by the way, I'm going to stop taking the pill. I think we should go back to using condoms. I think we should do that. Because even if you're using the pill and you're not using a condom, you can still get the herpes, and herpes has no cure.
Yeah.
I would love to remind
lifers.
everybody.
Yeah.
Herpes has
Yeah.
no cure.
And you can also get herpes on your mouth, by the way. You can get genital herpes. You can
Oh my god, the thought of that really.
Yeah.
Now I'm itching. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And people should get tested. Go get tested, man.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what your partner is doing. But then,
Definitely.
honestly, you'd think you trust someone. Me, even from personal experience, you think you trust someone so much, and you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're my for lifer. But at the end of the day, they're doing whatever they want to do,
Yeah.
and they're still coming back to you. So you have to be in charge of your own sexual reproductive health. Because at the end of the day, if you get HIV, if you get herpes, it's you.
Yeah.
It might be you and your partner, but it's you, Pia, at the
Yeah.
end of the day. So you have to know how to deal with it.
I like that. And I feel like more on how people should protect themselves, even when you're married, by the way. I also still annually, because annually obviously you have like the annual self checks or whatever that you're gonna go to your gynecologist. I also do HIV. I also do these other ones for syphilis, gonorrhea, and all these other whatever. Because no matter where you are, like you're saying, even for lifers, maybe you're for lifers with him and he's for lifers with someone else also. You never know, baby.
Nairobi,
You never know. Where do you guys go for help when you need help? If, for example, you are feeling itchy or you are, you had a sexual experience and like you're not feeling quite okay, where would you recommend that other young women who are watching this episode can go and find the help that they need?
Stop joking around. Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking ChatGPT? ChatGPT was not with you when you did the
That's
deed.
it. When you are bending over.
Don't
No.
ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, utilize digital resources when it comes to things like maybe normalizing the conversation, learning about maybe new things, new experiences, getting new perspectives. Yes, come listen to TMI, come listen to That's What She Said. Go on TikTok. There's lots of people who do content around SRHR, sex positivity, and there's a lot you can learn from there. But medical advice, dealing with your reproductive health, and like just to also talk about what you said about using contraceptives is something that you view as a privilege. Definitely, 100%. It's empowering. Like you can actually take control of your reproductive well-being.
Yeah.
You can take control of that. You don't have to, depend on a man and ask him,
Are we okay?
Yeah, it's a first
like you're the one who takes charge of that. So in that sense, contraceptives are very empowering. So part of that process is like going to a gynecologist, sitting down with them, and asking them all the questions.
Exactly.
Like imagine you've paid for that consultation. Sit there and go with the book and ask all the questions you need. Don't be afraid of also seeking a second opinion. I would also advise have one doctor. And this isn't just when it comes to gynecology, but in general, many people in Kenya die because of certain illnesses. And I saw this on a podcast the other day. Die because of illnesses that you've gone here, you've told this doctor, I have a cough. You've gone to this doctor, you've told them I have a cough. So every doctor is prescribing you with a cough medication, yet you've had the same cough for a year and a half. So if you saw the same doctor, this guy would be like, okay, this is something else. So that's why I think, like, if I could stay with my gynecologist until maybe the day I have kids, and that's the guy who delivers my babies, that would be ideal for me. You know, I personally go to the women's clinic in 40 Suites and I have a doctor there. So yeah, definitely see a doctor when it comes to such things. And when it comes to STI screening, just go. I feel like people are ashamed to go to the hospital.
Are they ashamed or are they scared?
Yeah,
Exactly,
of the
to be
results,
like,
'cause
yeah.
you know what you've been doing. You know
Which is
what
crazy
you've
because
been
if you have it now, you have it.
Yeah, if you have it,
And you've
you'd
been
rather
scratching your
know.
coochie every minute
You'd
for
rather
a
know
year
and
now. Like,
manage it
girl.
because you won't be scratching
Yeah.
anymore. You'll be given the medicine, you know, you need to manage it. Because I think even with herpes, it's not always active. So yes, you have it, but it's not always active.
Yeah.
It flares up. Yeah. So you're
exactly.
given the necessary, you know, if you don't know, that's even worse. Like if you have an STI, wouldn't you want to know?
Yeah.
So yes, do it regularly. Go up to the reception and say, I'm here for a full STI screening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would also say that if anyone who is having sex at whatever age you are, even if you have only had one sexual experience, you need to go and see a doctor. I know a lot of women do not go and see until like now when you want to start having a kid, or like now when you're starting to feel an issue, oh, I'm a bit uncomfortable, that's when you go to the doctor. But actually, you need to have a gynecological check anytime. If you are sexually active, you actually need to be having annual checks, whether or not you're itching, whether or not you're whatever, you need to be having annual checks. One. Secondly, I know that sometimes there can be some level of financial barrier to receiving the help that you need. I need you to know that it's free for you to receive care and to receive actually even contraception in public hospitals. So please make sure that even if you do not have money, you can go to a public hospital, you're able to get access to contraception, you're able to get access to a doctor who can help you. Of course, the quality of the service might not be top tier, but it's something, and you know at least you're protected. If you are having any kind of sex and there's pain, there's discomfort, there's discharge, there's like some things which you're just like, this doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
Anytime you have that thought, this doesn't feel quite right, do not play around with that, because it could be the difference between if you had gone last month, you would have been cured, but now you're in discomfort for like a whole year for nothing. Make sure you go to the hospital as soon as you start having sex. Okay, even if you don't want to tell your mom, and that will at least to the hospital. Yeah. Anything else to add with regards to getting help?
I was about to mention the financial aspect of
Right,
it,
yeah.
because sometimes gynecologists, especially private gynecologists,
expensive.
are
Girl,
expensive,
it's
and some
very
of them don't even take insurance.
Yeah,
You'll have
exactly.
insurance, you paid for insurance, you're going there, is like, no,
Yeah.
we cash or M-Pesa, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
Yeah,
15,000
sometimes.
are easy, and that's only for consultation. Now you've not even bought medication or whatever you need. So for me, it would be more of like research. You have ideally before you start having sex, or if you're curious about having sex, do your research about,
Where do you
like
research from though?
even like the same way you're saying that there's so many content creators who are making, like professionals who are making content around sexual reproductive health. There are so many podcasts out here that are certified, that there's so, like, there are articles that are written, there's so much pure information. Achana na these other kurutus who are making it
Random ones,
sit in
yeah.
a basin with salt and
Oh
water
my
for an hour. Please don't be doing that.
Yoni steam.
Yeah,
It's like, wait.
exactly. This
I don't wanna
other
steam nothing but my face.
same thing you're saying. Once you have that feeling of, is that really right? Yeah,
Yeah.
please don't. Like, look for certified even articles and doctors. And even if you see a doctor, you can go and research if they're like, qualified or not. So do your research before you actually start. Ideally, before you start engaging, or if you are engaging, still do your research, because you've been safe all this time, but now have information of how to protect yourself moving forward.
Exactly.
Because you don't know, maybe the next partner you're going to have was the one who was gonna mess you up, but now you have the information that you need. So
Exactly.
for me, it's more of like prevention is better than cure type of
Exactly.
situation. information. You get
Exactly.
But-
Maybe what we can do is also in the caption of this video, we can leave some links to some websites or some
Yes,
resources
yes.
that people can
Yes.
look at. I know there's a website, kasha.co.ke, where they give amazing free information about contraception, about sexual health. And it's like a trusted source where like doctors have actually fed into it. So maybe we can leave a few links. We can all share links of like
There's
trusted
also
ones that we know.
Wazi,
Yeah.
Wazi.ke.
Exactly.
I've been to Wazi and they really have conversations around sex and empowering the youth about sex. And they actually have a chatbot. So in case you have like a question you want to ask, they'll like give you actual information. Like it's not just
Yeah.
someone guessing, it's actual credible information that they're
That's
giving you. Yeah.
fantastic.
The
Yeah.
other thing I think to add is you don't have to be sexually active to take control of your reproductive health and well-being. Like people have endometriosis without knowing. Like, did you know my cousin did her master's research on periods, and she actually said to me yesterday, as I was talking about this podcast, that it's not normal to have painful periods. It's not. And I was like, really? Like me and everyone I know, like during our time of the month, we go through it. It's not normal. So if every month, you're getting really like demobilizing cramps, that's
It's not normal,
in
yeah.
sexual health and well-being, like go and reproductive health and well-being.
Yeah.
So you can have underlying conditions you don't know about. You can have endo, you can have PCOS. Cervical cancer is also a big thing,
So true,
right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to be sexually active. I think they say from above the age of 21, you need to be doing annual visits to your
Exactly,
gynecologist,
yeah.
regardless of
Yeah.
your sexual status. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So just if you've gotten nothing else, okay, from this segment is that please just go and see a doctor, go and see a gynecologist if you can, or just even go on to use the resources that we're gonna leave down below in the caption. Ladies, we have come to the end of our conversation. I know. I could sit here all day. Like what? I literally could.
Yeah.
If someone is watching and they get nothing else from this episode, what is one thing that you're just like, just take this one sentence. Hii yenye nimekuachia. What is one thing that you would love for someone to take away from this conversation?
For me, I'd say like prioritize your safety when it comes to sexual reproductive health, when it comes to your sexual partner. Like at the end of it, you want to do something when you feel safe, right? It's just, like when you're going in bad weather, you want to have an umbrella. You want to know you're protected against the bad weather. You're going about your daily life knowing that I'm having sex today, but I'm comfortable. I'm cool. I know this is comfortable for me and I'm feeling safe. So that's the takeaway I'd give out.
Lovely. Thank you so much, you.
Okay, interesting. And I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, but
You ain't holding my hand.
but like your value is not less because you can own your sexuality. Like be who you are. Talk about things that people will otherwise shame you for and call you mannerless, because that's the only way we break these barriers. We have to make a better generation. Like for the gen after the alphas, like we are the ones who are breaking these barriers now. So don't let it, like usikubali mtu akuuzie uoga. By the way, just be who you are and be unapologetic. And hey, good girls don't get the corner office anyway.
And that's what she said, right? One takeaway I would love for everyone to take away from this is that you deserve to have great sex, whether you are 20 or 35 or 77 or 70. God, guys,
This is a whole other
I would love to actually, that's one thing I'm really curious about. Like, I would love to watch like a podcast of like people who are older talking about their sexual experiences,
Same.
intergenerational, like sexual. Andika, yo, malice.
Write it down.
Yeah, I feel like that would be really interesting, but you do deserve to have great sex, and it is closer to you than you think. Yeah, it's all about just like standing up for yourself, communicating what you like, what you don't like, saying no at any given point in time, saying yes when you want to, and just as you said, owning your sexuality. Yeah. Thank you, girls, so much for being here. We can continue even after the cameras have been switched off. But thank you so much. That one feels short. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of That's What She Said. Make sure you come back next week because all the conversations are so empowering, so enlightening. I myself have learned a lot from you guys just in this episode alone. And this is just one. So there's a lot more. Make sure you check out our handles, our Instagram handle, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. That's what she said vodcast. And connect with us. Leave us your comments down below, by the way. Is there anything we have said which you've resonated with? Is there anything that you disagree with, agree with? Are there any resources that you can share as well? We would love to hear from you here and on any of our other social media handles. Thank you so much for watching.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.